Greetings and salutations. Thank you for clicking on the video. I hope you had a nice holiday, whatever holiday it is that you celebrate this time of year. We've only got a couple of days left in 2016 and we're heading into 2017. So I thought I would post a video and talk a little bit about my thoughts on what is going to be interesting to watch regarding Linux in 2017 and why I think it's going to be a very good year for Linux. A lot of people on YouTube are posting videos of, top 3 distros of the year, top 10 vulnerabilities and exploits in the Linux operating system. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to kind of ramble on here a little bit. I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about some of the things that I have done over the last month here with my own computer, and I'll give you a follow-up on using Ubuntu 16.04 as my daily driver for the last month as well. So lots to talk about in this video. The first thing that I wanted to talk about are these numbers right here. And this is the desktop operating system market share. And this little sliver right here is Linux. Now, a lot of people will dispute these numbers. These are highly disputed numbers for whatever reason. But there is an interesting trend going on here. In July, the number of people using Linux as reported for the total desktop market share around the world rose to 2%. And that was a big deal because for a long time it kind of wavered back and forth between like 1% and 1.5 and all that stuff. And this year that has really picked up. There's a lot more people using Linux on desktops and laptops. Now these numbers do not reflect embedded devices. They do not reflect servers, and Linux is definitely king in those worlds, but that desktop has always been a tough nut to crack. And the numbers are rising because I think a lot of people are getting kind of tired of the Microsoft merry-go-round and Apple's walled garden. They're tired of dealing with that, and both companies are kind of going in directions that even dedicated Windows and Mac fanboys just really are not happy about. And so a lot of people who are very serious computer users, they're concerned about security, they're concerned about privacy, they're concerned about economics, they're concerned about keeping their systems going for a long period of time. They're looking seriously at Linux, and a lot of folks are coming to it, which I think is absolutely great. And the Linux community, for those of you who are experienced Linux users, part of the community, I would encourage you to really step it up as far as helping new users and try and be on your best behavior and be nice to them so that they would want to stick around in Linux. The overall market share for desktop computing is shrinking, and that's happening because a lot of people, for their day-to-day stuff, they can do it on a smartphone, they can do it on a tablet, and that's kind of a natural progression here. People are moving toward mobile devices. However, that doesn't really concern me because I think there will always be a market for a quote-unquote real computer. I think there are people out there who create something. They write programs, they do graphic arts, they are authors, whatever they do, they're writers, they're going to want to have a real computer to work with. And as the total market share goes down, the Linux market share, or that part of the market, is going up, which tells me that there is a bright future for Linux on the desktop. So that is very cool. I just wanted to point that out before we got started on the video because I really think those numbers are going to trend up as the year goes on. And I've heard rumors out there that the real goal in the Linux community for those who care about such things is to try and get that number up to 5%. 2.31% of all of the desktop and laptop computers in the world is a huge number. That is millions and millions and millions of machines, gang. So this is all good. I have said from day one, since I started the EzeeLinux thing and started doing YouTube videos, that what will make Linux better is to have more people use it, and that's happening. So that's really cool. A couple of the products that I think, or projects that I think, not products, that will be very interesting to watch in 2017. The first one is Soulless, and this is their website here. Soulless is a most intriguing distribution of Linux for a lot of reasons. First of all, Soulless is not based on anything else. This is not a BoonTo based, it's not Arch based, it is its own distro. And Ike Dougherty and his merry little band of developers are basically building up from scratch. And they don't put anything into Soulless that doesn't work well. You know, people say all the time, well, one of the great things about Ubuntu and Debian and Arch is that there's so much software available. If you want to get real about it, 90% of the software that is in the Ubuntu repos and the Arch repos is garbage. And it doesn't all work with the system currently. It's just these packages are reported and they keep going. That's going to ruffle some people's feathers. But it's like I had a client the other day who tried to install something from the Ubuntu repository on a Linux Mint machine, and it trashed their machine. So I helped him to get that fixed. And it was something that was downloaded out of the repository. It didn't work properly. So Soulless, these guys, what they're doing is they're not putting anything in this repository unless they're just really sure that it's going to work. And they have a lovely desktop called Budgie. I wish they had a picture on their website, but they don't. At least not on this page. They may have a tour somewhere else, but anyway, you can look for yourself. And it's a kind of just a really neat little distribution. I did a video about this distribution a couple of months ago, and I was really impressed. I figured at the time that it was about 90% there. There were still some rough edges. There were a few things that weren't available in the repositories. There were still some things that kind of needed work. So this is an up-and-coming distro, and it is developing very quickly. And I think in 2017, this may be one of the big distros that people are going to be talking about, because if you can use it now, it's very stable. It is extremely reliable, very quick, very fast, good on memory. There's a lot of really good things about this. The only reason why I can't use this distro is because it doesn't have every package that I need in it or would like to have around, but wait a little while and that might change. Another thing to watch in 2017 is going to be Ubuntu. Now, ordinarily, I wouldn't say much about Ubuntu in a year where they were not releasing a long-term support version. Of course, the next one of those is 1804. But 1704, which is going to come out in April, is going to be a big, big change for Ubuntu, and it's going to be worth looking at. First of all, they're going to move to Unity 8, and that desktop will come installed. That is what I have heard. And Unity 8 is promising to be a big improvement, although I really haven't had a chance to play with it very much. And I talked a little bit about it in past videos. It doesn't run in virtual machines right now, all that kind of stuff. In Ubuntu 16.10, they have a preview of Unity 8 that you can boot up and play with. And that has the Mir desktop manager, which is the replacement for X. And I did play with it, and I was really impressed with how smooth it was. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you guys. You know, it takes a lot of hardware to do that. You have to dump the HDMI out of one machine and then capture it on another. I don't have that, so I couldn't show you that stuff. But it's going to be really interesting when 1704 comes along. Not only are they going to that Unity 8 desktop, which, by the way, will be Qt-based and not GTK. So this is a huge shift for Ubuntu as far as the toolkit that they're using to put the desktop together, and there's going to be changes under the hood. One of the interesting things that I have read is that Ubuntu is going to stop automatically setting up swap partitions on your system, and they will opt to use swap files, and that's kind of an interesting change there. So I guess that if you allow it to automatically partition your disk, it's just going to create one big partition, and there you go, and you're going to have a swap file in the system. Now, I put up a video not too long ago about how to do that if you want to, and it really doesn't make a difference as far as performance is concerned. I kind of did some research on that myself, and everything that I read from the Linux Foundation And several developers said that the Linux kernel really doesn't care where the swap is as long as it has it. So anyway, it's going to be kind of cool to watch. So Ubuntu is going to be worth watching, even though they've had several problems in Ubuntu 16.04. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. So that is that. So let's switch over here because I want to change gears a little bit. And I want to talk about the EzeeLinux community. One of the things that has happened in 2016 is that this Facebook page has really taken off. And if you are a person who spends time on Facebook, I really encourage you to come over here and like this page or follow it, and you can participate in the discussion. This has become sort of the forum. And some people say, well, I don't like Facebook. Why aren't you doing a subreddit? Why aren't you doing a hosted forum and all that stuff? And I will tell you why. Because the whole goal of EzeeLinux is to help people discover Linux. And if you go to Reddit or set up your own forum, not only is that a lot of extra work on my part, this is a one-man operation, it is also preaching to the choir. The Linux community is already on Reddit. There are plenty of forums out there. This on Facebook is something that the general public will see. And of course, I can boost certain posts, I can boost the page, I can get all kinds of attention here on this page that I ordinarily wouldn't get. So if you do Facebook, give this a like, and not only that, keep in mind that you can participate. This is not your typical Facebook business page. This is open to public comment, and you can be a part of the conversation here. More and more of what I talk about is going to be going on Facebook, and the videos that will be appearing here on the YouTube channel are going to be more concerned with me trying to teach you something. It's not going to be about my opinion on things, that sort of thing. I am finding that the YouTube is not the greatest forum for that kind of stuff, and so therefore I will be posting more opinions and little dribs and drabs and things to talk about here on the Facebook page. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the EzeeLinux page itself. Now, this page is pretty much static, I know that, but the main thing that I wanted to talk about was if you want to contact me, and you seriously want to contact me, in other words, you would like to find out about services that I provide one-on-one for a fee, then you can contact me here at this page. And this is really a good place to get a hold of me. It is very secure. You do not have to give any personal information, but I do take an email address. Okay, that we'll get an email address from you when you do this. And the people that inquire here, I get all kinds of things that come in on this contact. But mainly what this page is for folks who want me to help them get Linux installed on their machine. Now, I'm open up to pretty much any proposition if you want to hire me to help you with something that is related to Linux. However, I don't have the time to teach you one-on-one. I had somebody who sent me a letter not too long ago, or an email here, a note, and they said, can I hire you to teach me Linux? I'm like, well, I've got too much going on. And the way I do this is by appointment. So when you contact me here, then tell me what you want, tell me about your computer, tell me about your hardware, and then I will get back to you. We will set up an appointment and we will chat on the phone or via Skype. And there is a process that we go through here. I cannot and will not support you through email. I won't do it. If it's going to be a situation where I'm going to help you to get started with Linux, I want to be very much in touch with you. So if you are that kind of person that doesn't like to talk on the phone or doesn't want to do Skype, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to help you very much. It's just the way I do this. And I've had a very good success rate getting people started with Linux. Lots of very happy clients out there. I offer 6 months of support afterwards, totally free. Just send me an email. If you got a problem, I'll try and fix it for you, that sort of thing. That comes with the base fee. And most of the time I never hear from those people again because they don't have any problems. And sometimes I get worried and go, well, maybe they just weren't happy and they didn't want to tell me. So I'll contact you back and I'll say, how's it going? And most of the time people say, hey, I'm just real happy with it. It works great, no problem. So, that's how this works. That's what EzeeLinux is really all about, gang. I'll try and answer any question you send me, but, if it's something really complicated, then you might want to arrange an appointment, especially if it's like an install or something like that, okay? So just putting that out there. Another place I want to talk about is freedompenguin.com. Now, I do not contribute as much as I used to here, and that is because it takes a while to come up with an article that's worth posting, that sort of thing. And I'm busy working on stuff for the YouTube channel or working with clients most of the time these days. And anyway, but this is a great page. I want you to check this out. freedompenguin.com, run by Matt Hartley. And you're going to find links to all these pages in the description to this video. This is kind of like the EzeeLinux outreach for people who read stories about Linux online and follow that sort of thing. And if that's something you're interested in, then I highly recommend it. It doesn't mean that I agree with everything that everybody's posted here or everything they write, but it's kind of cool because on this page you're going to find stories from people who are using Linux every day and using it at home or in small business or something like that. This is not server centric. This is not the Linux elite here we're talking about. We're just talking about average everyday users and people that are learning the system. So it's a pretty cool page to check out. So with all of that said, and I do hope you do check these pages out, let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about, which is changes here on the computer that I use to make these videos, have been using for a while now. I came into a very interesting Christmas gift. A couple of things. A friend said that they had some stuff that was just going to be going to the recycle place or donated or something like, I don't know. I said, well, what do you got? Tell me what you got. And a couple of the things that they had was a stack of 4 Western Digital Caviar Black hard drives. And so I said, give them to me. They were 1 terabyte, 7200 RPM Caviar Black. That's a pretty nice hard drive, so I'll take those. And the other thing I got was a nice Dell monitor, which is 16 by 10, and I prefer 16 by 10 on my desktop than 16 by 9. Most of the monitors sold today are 16 by 9, so I'm always keeping my eyes out for 1610 monitors, and this is definitely an improvement. And I like 1610 monitors when I'm running systems because I figured that this top bar here, that's that little extra bit of space, So get a little bit more vertical room. So anyway, what I ended up doing was I reloaded this machine. I put one of those drives in it. I had a hodgepodge of drives in here. I had 2 or 3 drives in here, stuff spread out all over them. And I thought, I've got these really nice Caviar Black drives. They were used. They came out of a server somewhere. You could tell that they were in a storage array. And they were in really good shape. They checked out well, and the uptime was, it's a couple years, but that's okay. We're talking about Caviar Blacks. Those things run forever, right? And so I decided to go ahead and take all those hodgepodge drives out, put them away, and put one of those big drives in here. So if you'll see up top here, I've got the LS block listing here, and it shows that this is the drive and how it is set up for Linux. And then down here, that's the space available. I've got just space that goes on for days. And this is the memory footprint of the system right there. So just figured I'd show you guys. And I did get rid of BoonTo when I put the new drive in. I was going to reload the system anyway, and I sat there and thought about it for a little while, and I said, well, what am I going to do? So I ended up putting Linux Mint back on. This is Linux Mint 17.3, and it is fully upgraded. I've got the latest kernel running here. I've got a lot of the applications that have been upgraded So I have found that Linux Mint 17.3, even though we're already at 18.1, is just one great operating system. It's very stable. I've got every computer in my house running on Linux Mint 17.3, and I would say probably 90% of the people that are clients are running 17.3 right now, and it's been very, very good. Unless the client does something stupid and messes it up, it just tends to keep on running. So that's where we are as far as this system is concerned. Now, what's really cool is that if you've been following my channel, you know that I had a hard drive die on me. Well, since I've got those other hard drives, it's freed up a bunch of other drives. So what does that mean? That means I now have external SSDs that I can install Linux distributions on, and we can take a look at them. I don't intend to do a great deal of Linux distro reviews. I saw a lot of people on YouTube doing that, and they just load them up, and it's kind of a, I thought it would be really cool for a long time to do distribution reviews and do first impression videos and things like that. But they tend to get very political, and the trolls come out of the woodwork, and a lot of things happen. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of those, but I would like to take a look at Linux distros. Now, a bit of a follow-up is in order because I did run Ubuntu 16.04 for a month. And I must say that I had a very pleasant experience. I enjoyed using the Linux, the Unity desktop. I enjoyed playing around with it quite a bit, but I also ran into some issues. One of the issues was the network manager, which didn't work well with my equipment at all. And a lot of people have reported that they're having the same issue. I do not understand why it is that Ubuntu cannot fix network manager with the Unity desktop. Doesn't seem to be that much of a problem in Linux Mint 18, which is based on Ubuntu 16.04. Doesn't seem to be that much of a problem with other desktops. Just Ubuntu with Unity. And one of the weird things that it would do is connect it up just fine. I didn't have a problem with that. But if the computer went to sleep and then you came back and woke it up, it would come up and say that it was now on an Ethernet connection. And when you hovered over the network applet, like here, see now you see the wireless networks, that would go away because the machine thought it was on an Ethernet connection. It's very, very strange. It stayed connected most of the time though, but I did have a lot of drops, and of course, what I did for that was just restart Network Manager from the terminal. But still, you shouldn't have to do that. It should reset itself, and it should work just fine. I don't quite understand why they can't get that fixed. Also, I had some small audio issues. The audio was really bad, especially on YouTube videos. It sounded like it was glitchy and skipping, and I looked all over the place and couldn't figure that out. So there were several small things. And overall, the performance was a bit sluggish compared to pretty much anything else that I have used on this particular machine. Linux Mint 17.3 with the nice later kernels is pretty zippy, and it doesn't use a whole great deal of memory. Now, I'm using probably more memory here than usual simply because I have all that stuff open, but if I don't have much open, this thing stays below 500 megabytes for memory, which is pretty amazing. Now, all that processor activity you're seeing is because I am capturing video. Ordinarily, it runs pretty quick here. So that is kind of where I'm at. I've put Linux Mint back on here. I have a whole Linux Mint network going, and things seem to be working very smoothly. Coming up here, not too far distant future. I don't know how to put that because I really don't have an exact date. We are looking at doing another Mr. Server and Mr. Desktop. That would be me and Jeremy O'Connell at CyberWeb Solutions, who is an EzeeLinux partner. And we're going to do another one of those. And what we want to talk about is networking on Linux. If you have a bunch of Linux machines, we're going to talk about some of the ways that you can get them to talk to each other. And we're not talking about using Samba or NFS, which seems to be the two things that people usually talk about networking. But because of the holiday thing going on and the fact that our friends over at CyberWeb Solution completely went to Ubuntu Mate for their offices not too long ago, our friend there has been kind of busy getting all that together. So when we can get Jeremy cornered and we get some time here, we're going to do that particular Mr. Server and Mr. Desktop on networking. So that should be coming up very soon. So anyway, gang, thank you for watching the video. I certainly do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a really, really happy new year. And I always like to hear your comments and suggestions. And like I said, do check out EzeeLinux on the web, check out EzeeLinux on Facebook, and check out freedompenguin.com for lots of really cool stories about Linux. I am excited about 2017. I think that it is going to be a cool year. And I appreciate everybody who has subscribed to this channel and everybody who has participated in the EzeeLinux community. It's totally awesome. And this has the success of the YouTube channel and the EzeeLinux community in 2016 has been amazing. So thank you very much to everybody who has been a part of it. And we will talk again soon. Happy New Year, everyone.